On the 5th of September 2023, violent tidal waves ravaged the island of Madagascar. 3,450 people were killed, thousands more were made homeless. The first relief aid that reached the island was flown in on white airplanes with giant question marks on their fuselages. When Edgar was questioned about the relief operation in Madagascar and the extent of the devastation, all he would say was this: "God works in fucking mysterious ways." Cardinal Phillips presented the Pope with a letter regretting his new stance on artificial birth control. The letter was signed by 18 cardinals, 76 bishops, 34 professors, 1,305 priests, 102 theology teachers, and a number of important lay Catholics. The Pope read the letter, folded it neatly into a paper plane, and threw it out of the window. The next day, Cardinal Phillips and approximately half of the cardinals were absent from the Pope's morning bungee jump from the Sistine Chapel ceiling. There were correspondingly fewer claps and less "oohs" as God's messenger, etc., etc., bounced up and down. It brought him closer to God, he said. The press began to fall in love with Sophia. However, Dr. Cunningham refused to allow any reporter near her. In fact, Dr. Cunningham had only allowed himself, a few trusted nurses, and the Virgin Mother near his beloved patient. There was, of course, also Edgar Malroy. To Dr. Cunningham's own surprise, he found Edgar a sort of companion rather than a threat. And from the first day they had met, when Edgar had limped into his office with the aid of a stick, wearing an eye patch, one arm in a sling, and holding a ridiculously large bunch of flowers in his good hand, Dr. Cunningham had known that Edgar Malroy, like himself, was hopelessly in love with his patient. It had taken a few months for it to dawn on Dr. Cunningham, but he now realized, much to his dismay, that he was actually rather jealous of all the attention Sophia Alderson had shown Edgar Malroy. When the fourth metaphysical betting shop was opened in California, so many people came to place bets that traffic jams stretched for 32 miles in every direction. There were 3 cases of MBO and at least 14 people died from carbon monoxide poisoning. It took me another 2 months to reach the top of the icefall. How I managed it, no one, including myself, ever really found out. I was 20,000 feet above sea level. The weather was perfect. I pushed myself upwards. I was a driven supermarket trolley. The crisis in the Catholic Church caused the publication of Humanae Vitae II worsened. An anonymous editorial in the Universe claimed that rebellion is only a matter of time. The Pope cannot pretend to be surprised by it. The Pope kept showing the world's press his HB pencil and saying that he didn't know what all the fuss was about. He also began spending a great deal of time in the Vatican gardens, where he claimed to have seen repeatedly the sun rotating wildly in the sky, in much the same way that Pope Pius XII had witnessed back in 1950. Events moved quickly. As dissent grew, a delegation of cardinals led by Cardinal Phillips demanded another audience with the Pope. This was eventually granted. Cardinal Phillips solemnly informed the blinking Pope that in his and his fellow cardinals' view, the path the Pope had embarked upon seemed flatly to contradict the teaching and doctrine of previous popes, and that perhaps, more to the point, what he proposed was an act of extreme commercialism in terribly bad taste. The Pope rubbed his eyes and informed the cardinals present that he had, on the issue of contraception, simply taken the long view, as had, he argued, Paul VI. The Pope then gave a lecture about dwindling church funds, the need to remain relevant in the modern world, and then, getting off the point, gave a most animated account of the latest solar miracle he had witnessed. When he had finished, he slumped back into his chair and blinked slowly 4 times, and then told Cardinal Phillips that Humanae Vitae II would stand and that he could love it or leave it. The Pope then took out of his breast pocket a prototype of the Vatican-sanctioned condom and showed it to the rebel cardinals. On one side was a picture of the Virgin Mother, which the Pope told them would glow in the dark, while on the other was a ribbed crucifix. When Cardinal Philip and his supporters not only refused to turn off the lights so they could all see the Virgin Mother glow in the dark, but protested still further, Pope John said he had had enough and had the rebel cardinals locked up in a 15th century room. However, the cardinals climbed out of a 16th century window.